So for you, you started doing a few other series. Faster Than Light is another one.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be? What was the...
it actually was an idea I had in 1993. I actually I had a partner, Evan Carlos Summers, who was my writing partner, and then he got staffed on Deep Space Nine, and I actually ghost wrote a Deep Space Nine with him. But we were always talking back and forth about doing, we want to do a contemporary Star Trek. Why does it have to be, because you get all these kind of weird, it's like, oh, it's the year 2500, 2300, whatever, and there's still, there's a Beastie Boy soundtrack happening or whatever. It's like, it has to be so affected to have all these things like, no, let's have it happen right now, and then we can have, they come back to Earth, it pretty much looks like this.
Yeah.
There may be some weird fancier new watches that people have and stuff like that.
But it's the same world.
The same world, and it's totally relatable because then everything's new to us. It's like you don't have to know what a Klingon Empire is or how warp drive works because you're learning along with our crew because none of us have ever been here and done this before. And the idea that there's no Starfleet to save us, it's one ship, out there on their own, having to. Because I always loved, that was the thing that I always loved about the original series Star Trek is like any problems they got involved in, they got into because of their own actions. Just the opposite of the Next Generation, where they always got in problems due to their inaction.
Yeah.
Number one, what do you think? What do you think? And then we can't, we can't do anything that might frighten them, and then they get, pulled into something. It's like it's just so much more interesting.
Captain Kirk would go in headstrong and say, "Okay, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna go in there, punch our way out, and figure it out. Whether it's a mob boss that the whole planet is after, or if they." Or if it's just
it's just better drama, getting into trouble because you didn't do anything, huh?
Yeah. It's like you gotta
really
go do something, mess stuff up so you can fix it. You gotta break a few helmets to make an omelet.
Yeah. So the idea was basically to do it was I wanted to do my contemporary Star Trek, and again it had been done. 93 is when I had the idea for it, and really it wasn't until I started doing Spawn and stuff that I really had enough chops that I could start doing the whole 9 yards rather than just being the colorist or the writer or the co-creator or whatever that is.
What's the next thing for you? What's the next project? What's the next what's on the horizon for you coming up?
We have a short story that's coming out in the Where We Live book, the charity book that we're doing for the Las Vegas shooting victims. It's coming out beginning of end of this month, I think.
Yeah,
I know I'm doing a couple signings. So I think it's at the in stores at the end of the thing. And then I'm going to Vegas and doing a signing there on the 2nd as well at it's going to kill me, Ralph's store. Well, we can check that. Anyway, and so we have in there. It's a story is basically based on it. It's kind of a 7-pager from one of the new things that David Hein and I are going to be doing. It's basically we haven't exactly settled on the title for it yet. Right now, it's either God World or Lost World, but I think it still might be something else. And it's 3 worlds, another time, another place, right, orbiting a gas giant, and 2 rival societies, and then they're both colonizing the 3rd world. And it's really kind of solar sail sort of technology, so they can't like go to any world whenever they want to. It has to be in the right orbit, otherwise you have to wait maybe a year, 2 years before you can even get there again.
That's great.
And the 3rd world that they're both trying to colonize right now is the home of all their legends of their gods.
Okay.
And so there are these giant creatures there.
That's cool.
And all kinds of mysteries up to your nose, essentially.
So
we just kind of, and so there's a 7-pager in the Where We Live book is in that world, and it's one of the young guys. I think like Mobius stuff, riding pterodactyls, flying gliders, giant things, big huge desert monument kind of thing. And the story is basically, we have this young guy on the thing, and he's got people that he knows that are down the bottom. One of those giant creatures he sees them, he goes right past him in his glider, and is going right for them and stuff, and he doesn't have any weapons or anything like that, and he dives back around, risks himself to of course I could just leave and be fine right now, but okay, I'm not. I'm going to risk myself, makes it chase him, gets through a mason, traps it essentially, saves the day, right? But without any weapons. So it was like it was to honor those people that during the shooting ran into harm's way to help those other people
cool.
Without
without even a thought for themselves. That's so cool, and you're honoring them in that way. It's really powerful. I think that's something that's really beautiful about comic books is the way art kind of mimics the real world and those people's actions and showing their bravery.
Yeah, and we're gonna push the heck out of it, so hopefully make some money for some people too.
Exactly.
But so there's that. There's a adaptation of a Jules Verne book that we'll be doing as well. And there's.
Do you know the Koresh family?
No.
They're friends of mine. They I think they have a lot of. I think they own the licenses to his music, so they're friends of mine.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's Jules Verne or if it's another Verne, but it was...
Must be another Verne.
Another Verne.
Yeah, I don't think Jules did any music.
Okay. Wrong Verne there.
Writing, but no music. And then, and we have, this looks like it may be high-end adult animation coming out soon.
Nice. Yeah. That's really exciting.
Yeah.